Hi Andy XL, back with another FIFA 2026 World Cup podcast. And firstly, I'll look back at my predictions for day four, which was my worst day of the tournament so far. Only two of the four outcomes were predicted correctly and no correct scores. Although I was denied three correct and one correct score due to the fact that Ivory Coast scored a 90th minute winner. But hey ho, that's bad luck. Some other days I've had a bit of luck on my side. So put that behind us and look forward to day five now. So after 4 days of a group stage where we're only going to see 16 teams eliminated at this stage, there are already four teams who are pretty close to their exit door. They being South Africa, Haiti, Curacao, and Tunisia, who all look short for short stays. All look set for short stays at this tournament. On the flip side, teams in their group that already have 3 points and have a good goal difference can be pretty confident of going to the round of 32. So Mexico, Germany, and Sweden may be the first teams who look pretty much certainties to proceed. South Korea, Morocco, Brazil, Ivory Coast, Japan, and the Netherlands can also be pretty confident of progressing, as all they have to do now is not to mess it up against one of the four teams I have been mentioned as being set for early eliminations. So it may be that over a quarter, i.e., 9 of the 32 spots in round two are already pretty much taken. And the same apply and similar applies to the spots that will be eliminated, i.e., 4 of the 16 are already pretty much taken. So after day five, we will have seen half of the 48 teams in action. So tomorrow I'll give you a little update along the lines of what I've done about teams that are pretty much certain to go through and teams that are pretty much certain to go out. But I'll also give you a look at the teams that I think have impressed me most in the first half of round one, or round one of fixtures, and also which players have caught my eye. But on to day five now, and where groups G and H get underway. Starting with Spain versus Cape Verde, another big hitter versus relatively newcomer and relative minnow here, and surely Spain will win this one. This game gets Group H underway, with Saudi Arabia meeting Uruguay later today in the same group. While Spain pretty much cruised through their qualification group, it should be noted that they have drawn three of their last five games against Turkey, Egypt, and Iraq. So maybe this is not the foregone conclusion many anticipate it will be. Yes, we can expect Spain to dominate possession and territory as they normally do, but their midfield hub has not been in great form recently in the guise of Rodri, Martin Zubamendi, and the recently back from injury Mikel Moreno. Rodri's certainly not been his best for Manchester City. Martin Zubamendi actually lost his starting spot to Miles Lewis Skelly, who didn't make the England squad for Arsenal. And Mikel Merino, as I say, has not played much recently, having been on his way back from an injury. But they still have some impressive talent for sure on their front line. We know about them and have scored two or more goals 8 times in their last 10 games. Cape Verde were surprise winners of the qualification group ahead of Cameroon, but that doesn't look like a great Cameroon side, and they do not have many players that have really made it to the top levels across leagues all over Europe. So, despite my concerns about the Spanish midfield here, they're going to have enough up front and be solid enough at the back to win this 2 or 3 nil. And like I say, it may be more workmanlike than spectacular, though. So let's move on to the second game of the day, Belgium versus Egypt. An intriguing one, this game between two pretty good teams who have it in them to upset a few of the big teams in this tournament. This may not be the Belgium of Thibaut Courtois, Toby Alderweireld, Jan Vertonghen, Vincent Kompany, Eden Hazard, Kevin De Bruyne, or Romelu Lukaku in their pomp, but whilst the golden generation may have missed their opportunity, this squad, which still has Courtois, De Bruyne, and Lukaku in it, plus really good players like Yuri Tielemans and Jeremy Doku. So for me, they're still a team capable of going deep into this competition. Egypt are a consistent and well organised team that knows how to compete with the best teams, despite not having a lot of high-end talent in the squad. This may well be one last hurrah for their Prince Mo Salah and for Omar Marmoush. Also, they'll need him to have a strong tournament. If they're to score the goals, they need to beat the better teams to go through. I like Belgium in this tournament. I think dark horse is a term that gets bandied around too much. But if I was picking out my teams that are slightly under the radar that might do well here, I think Belgium are one of them. So I'm going to take the Belgians to win this 2-0 to put them in the driving seat in Group G. Moving on to Saudi Arabia versus Uruguay. Saudi Arabia caused a massive shock by beating Argentina in their first game of the last World Cup. Now they get a shot at another of South America's stronger teams here. Apart from one member of their squad, all of the Saudi players compete in their domestic league, and that knowledge of each other's strengths and weaknesses makes them a very strong team unit. But they do not look like a team in great form right now, with just one win in 90 minutes in their last 8 matches against Puerto Rico. They did have a game where they won in extra time. Uruguay have plenty of quality players from top European teams in defence and midfield, but scoring goals has been their problem. So they're a bit like Ecuador, as we saw last night. Plenty of ability, plenty of strength and throughout the team, but can they score the goals? In the Uruguay's case, they scored just 5 goals in their last 7 games. In a game where will likely have to break down a packed defence, that could make life difficult for them to look impressive. But I'll take them to just edge it 1-0. But I wouldn't be amazed if it was a 1-1 draw. But I'll take Uruguay 1-0. Finally, Iran versus New Zealand. So, Iran are another team that is much better collectively than individually and will be determined to do well. Excuse me, given the adversity of not being able to stay in the US but having to commute for all their games. So they might well be playing with a massive chip on their shoulder. If ever a team wanted to defy the odds, it may well be them. They are generally a really tough team to break down. So facing the New Zealand team that is one of the lowest ranked teams in the competition has won just one of its last 10 games and has failed to score in 4 of its last 5, maybe right up Iran's street, so to speak. And I have to think Iran will find a way to win this, either 1 or 2-0. I just think, every tournament that Iran go into, everybody looks at them and says, oh, it's Iran, who cares? Well, don't underestimate this lot. They always perform better than they're expected to. So if the Iranians could finish second in this group, I'm just floating this one out there. If the Iranians finish second in this group, they would face the runners-up from Group D, which just happens to be the group the USA are in. So there's another potential um, target there for them to aim for that they would love to achieve. And could it be destiny that Iran and USA are due to meet in the round of 32? Anybody want to see that? I'd love to for a start. So that's it for day 5. Then my predictions of the 4 games. Like I say, I'll come back with another update tomorrow. But that's it for now. See you later.